California never stops looking for new ways to tie knots around the Second Amendment. 2025 is no exception. Even after courts have smacked down their old restrictions, lawmakers in Sacramento are back at it, writing bills they know won't hold up, enforcing them anyway, and leaving gun owners stuck in the middle. The Ninth Circuit just gutted the old 1 in 30 law. That was the rule forcing you to wait a full month between handgun or semi-auto rifle buys. That victory mattered. It shut down the idea that California could ration a right. But instead of learning the lesson, the state came back swinging. Now we've got Assembly Bill 1078. This is their so-called compromise. 3 firearms every 30 days instead of 1. In their words, it's balance. In reality, it's the exact same rationing game, just with a bigger number. Supporters claim it stops straw buyers and traffickers. They lean on California DOJ talking points that say some crime guns trace back to bulk sales. Problem is, every time that argument hits court, it falls apart. The data doesn't hold, and the judges know it. The timing here is critical. July 8th, this bill ran through the Senate Public Safety Committee. Now it's parked in appropriations, lined up for review the very first week lawmakers get back from summer break. That means by late August, it could already be on the governor's desk. And here's the kicker. The bill has a built-in trapdoor. If the state wins its appeal and brings back the 1 in 30 rule, this so-called 3 in 30 instantly reverts back to the stricter version. That tells you the truth. This was never about compromise. It's about clawing back the original restriction any way they can. For gun owners, the danger is obvious. The Ninth Circuit said rationing firearm purchases crosses the line. Yet here we are, watching the same playbook dressed in new packaging. Groups fighting this bill are already preparing lawsuits. It's going to be another long court battle if it passes. Think about it this way. Imagine the government telling you you're only allowed to attend church 3 Sundays a month, or that you can only publish 3 news articles every 30 days. Everybody would laugh at that level of control. But with guns, California expects us to nod along and say thank you. Law enforcement unions are backing it, claiming without a cap the black market grows. They point to Virginia and New Jersey, states that tried similar purchase limits. But even there, crime didn't magically drop, and in some cases the laws were repealed. Bottom line, rationing didn't work then, and it won't work now. So here's where we stand. Mid-August 2025, AB 1078 is moving fast. Given the politics in Sacramento, chances are good it passes. But that won't be the end of it. The lawsuits will follow, just like they always do. It's the same cycle we've watched for years. Restrict, sue, strike down, repeat. Now let's talk about AB 1127. Critics are already calling this one the Glock ban. Instead of reshaping an old restriction like AB 1078, this bill takes aim at one of the most common sidearms in America, and it does it by attacking design features. Here's the pitch from Sacramento. Supporters say some pistols, especially Glock models, are too easy to illegally convert into full auto with what's called a Glock switch, or an auto sear. SB 74, background checks for barrels. Now let's move to SB 74. This one doesn't target full firearms. It goes after a single part, the barrel. Up until now, barrels could be bought as standalone components, replacement barrels, aftermarket upgrades, parts for competition pistols or rifles, no different than buying a new trigger or stock. SB 74 changes that. It says every single barrel sale has to run through a licensed dealer, and you're getting a full background check, just like buying a complete firearm. On top of that, every transaction gets recorded. The Department of Justice in California would store all those records in a searchable database. Supporters argue it closes what they call a loophole. They say in the age of ghost guns and at-home builds, barrels are key parts that need tracking. Opponents fire back with some obvious points. A barrel is not a firearm, By itself, it cannot chamber or fire a round. Treating it like a serialized weapon only adds cost, delays, and paperwork. It punishes hobbyists, competitive shooters, and gunsmiths who swap barrels as part of their work. And then there's the privacy angle. We're talking about permanent storage of records for items that, in many cases, don't even have serial numbers. By August 2025, SB 74 had already cleared the Senate. It's now sitting in the Assembly, already amended once in committee. No hearing date yet, but it's alive and moving. And if it passes, legal challenges will follow. The core fight will be whether a barrel counts as a firearm under state or federal law, and if California can expand definitions this far. Wrap up. So here's where things stand. California is pushing 3 major bills at once. A B-1078, rationing firearm purchases with a so-called 3 and 30 law. A B-1127, the Glock ban, going after handguns that can supposedly be converted. And SB 74, background checks for barrels. Supporters say it's about fighting gun crime and cutting off illegal mods. Opponents say it's unconstitutional, it targets lawful gun owners, and it stacks regulation on top of regulation. No matter how these bills shake out in the legislature, you can bet one thing. They're headed straight for the courts, and Californians will be stuck in the middle. That's the update for August 2025. If you found this breakdown useful, make sure you like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about these bills, and whether you see them holding up under the Second Amendment.
Now, let's pause. Those little conversion devices are already banned under both federal law and California law. That part is not new. What AB 1127 does is go after the pistols themselves. California already uses a so-called safe handgun roster. If a pistol doesn't meet their government-approved list of safety and design standards, it can't be sold by a dealer. This bill rewrites those standards. It says if a semi-auto pistol could be readily converted into a machine gun, it's off the roster. The problem? That phrase, readily converted, is vague. And if you apply it the way Sacramento wants, you're not just cutting off a few niche models. You're looking at banning new sales of most Glock pistols, plus plenty of other handguns that share similar designs. Think about the impact. Glocks are one of the most common sidearms for law enforcement, home defense, and competition. Yank them off the roster, and California dealers are left with empty shelves. Buyers will go out of state. Private sales will increase. Oversight actually gets weaker, not stronger. That's the irony. As of mid-August 2025, AB 1127 has already cleared key committees. It's headed for the Senate Appropriations Committee in the first week back from recess. With the support it has inside the legislature, odds are high it reaches the floor before the end of the month. If it passes, lawsuits are guaranteed. Expect challenges over vagueness and whether punishing an entire brand for the crimes of criminals is constitutional.